Good morning. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to be here this morning as this marks my 110th day as the new superintendent here in the School District of Philadelphia. And I want to begin by recognizing our school board members who are present here and certainly appreciate their vote of confidence. I want to start with our board president, Ms. Joyce Wilkerson. If you'll stand and be recognized, welcome. Board member Sarah Ashley Andrews, welcome. Board member Chow Wing Lam. Board member Mallory Fix Lopez. Board member Lisa Sally. Board member Cecilia Thompson. Have I missed any other board members? All right, also am pleased that we're joined this morning by the co-chair of my transition team, Andrea Custis. You'll stand to be recognized. Thank you for being here. And I believe Dr. Betty Morgan, who is the facilitator supporting the transition team, is here with us as well today. And we're excited to have her with us. Dr. Betty Morgan, if you'll please stand and be recognized. In addition to being the facilitator of the transition team, she's a former National Superintendent of the Year. So we're certainly happy that she's here with us today. The purpose of today's press conference is to highlight what I've heard and observed over 110 days. It's hard to believe that 6 months have passed since the board saw fit to name me in early April as the new superintendent. Also, it's been 110 days since my official start date on June the 16th. I'm beginning with an update regarding one of the priority areas that was shared often across the school district, and that involves safety, the safety of our students and our staff. While violence continues to rise in our country, gun violence and the effects of the pandemic are having a devastating impact on the city of Philadelphia, and we certainly hear that feedback, and we're concerned about it. And as a result, many of our children told me during the listening and learning tour that they are not doing well. When we've asked the question, how are the children? Many of our children have spoken very clearly that they're not doing well. Some are afraid to go out in their neighborhoods and play. Some are afraid on their way to and from school. And so we're certainly receptive to that feedback and doing everything we can to make sure that we meet their needs. Last week, as many of you know, one of our students, a young man, lost his life, and 4 other students were injured in a senseless act of gun violence in our city. Before this horrific event occurred, our students were doing just what any normal teenage student would do, enjoying time with their friends and participating in a wholesome after-school athletic activity. As a parent myself of 3 young men, I will never forget the hurt that I saw on the family's faces, particularly one mother, when I visited them at the hospital. The physical, mental, and emotional well-being of our students is our #1 top priority. And we will continue to support students and staff as we deal with the crippling violence in the city. What's going well for us? We have some of the best trained safety officers in the school district of Philadelphia under the very capable leadership of our school safety chief, Kevin Bethel. And I'm pleased that I was able to spend some time with Chief Bethel and his safety officers this summer. They work really hard to build relationships with students. They're focused on de-escalating conflict, peer mediation, and other strategies that are very helpful in many of our schools. I'm also pleased this year that we increased safety zones to encompass 40 district and charter schools in neighborhoods and other high incidents of violence areas. Our Safe Path program is a collaboration between the school district and the Institute for the Development of African American Youth, or IDA, and provides extra supervision and support to students on their way to and from school. And before the start of the 2022-23 school year, the district established a partnership with Lyra Health to offer an expanded network of mental health providers for school staff. In light of the recent violence that has impacted students and families, this partnership also provides additional grief counseling and trauma support for school staff. And we're certainly thankful to our Board of Education for approving that contract. Let's talk about promises made and promises kept. When I began this journey officially on June the 16th, I committed to using my first 100 days to listen, excuse me, and to learn. I promised to work with a sense of urgency to hear directly from staff members at 440, leaders, teachers, and other support staff in schools, from elected officials, faith-based leaders, union leaders, and other community stakeholders. And most important, I committed to hear from our students and families who experience the work that we do in the school district every day. And they gave us good feedback, very timely feedback about what they think is working, and quite frankly, what they think is not working, and what we need to do to achieve the School District of Philadelphia's goals and guardrails, and to make our school district one of the fastest improving large urban districts in the country. I was able to visit many neighborhood schools and meet employees who are powering the district. And I got the chance to have lunch with some incredible students at high schools across the city and hear their concerns and hopes for the future. And I'm still thinking about two very nice meals I had, in particular at Dobbins High School and Swenson Arts and Technology High School culinary students. And it's whether it was one of those visits or the 90 listening and learning sessions across the district, I'm pleased that well over 2,700 Philadelphians participated in the process by either participating in one of the 90 listening and learning sessions, or by completing a survey. Now, this is what you told me. I'm pleased to announce that phase one of my entry plan, the listening and learning tour, is concluded as of today, although I will still stay very connected in a grassroots way with a lot of the members of the community. But here's what you told me. During my listening and learning sessions at Dobbins, I met alumna Barbara Dowdle, who continues to speak passionately about the importance of restoring libraries to our schools and rehiring certified librarians. I want to thank Kelly Thomas from the Free Library of Philadelphia for being here with us today. We've certainly heard that feedback, and we'll have some more to share about that shortly. Along the way, I met folks like deaf advocate Igor Kimmel, who spoke at length with me about the extent to which we have to do a better job serving our students with disabilities, mental disabilities, cognitive disabilities, and the like. And I heard from leaders like Eric Edie of AFRICOM, who shared some of the issues that our diverse immigrant families are experiencing here in the school district. On the topic of what the school district does well, our community was very clear. They said we have many educators who are committed to hard and strategic work every day in spite of a number of challenges that they face. They get up each and every day trying to do something that will make a difference in the lives of our young people. And I'm certainly honored to work along all of those people in the school district. I met one parent after another who shared the stories of teachers and principals and counselors and many others who move mountains daily to meet the needs of students. And too often those stories don't get told. In addition to staffing and school climate and safety, which will be our #1 priority in the school district, I heard other concerns about things that we don't do well or need to improve on. And there are 4 that bubble up to the top. First, I heard loud and clear that our internal and external communication and engagement lacks consistency and transparency, leading to an overall lack of confidence among some in the school district. 2, I heard loud and clear that in too many places we have poor customer service. Many individuals said that navigating the system is unbearable at times. 3, I heard loud and clear that too many of our facilities are not conducive to learning. That was no surprise to me, as I knew about the myriad of facility challenges that exist in the school district. Our community wants to partner with us to make decisions that will help us to get better. 4, in all too many places, we are missing the mark on academic achievement. Proficiency rates have increased in 3 through 8 reading over a several period of years by some 4 percentage points. Also, 3rd grade reading has remained flat. In math, we've also seen about a 5 percentage point increase over a number of years, the 8 to 10 years prior to the pandemic. But if we're going to accomplish the board's goals and guardrails and make sure that all children, not some, but all our children, are prepared for the world of work, for 2-year colleges and institutions of higher learning and 4-year colleges and universities, we've got to do a lot more strategic work, and we're going to have to adjust and change some of our strategies. Proficiency rates, though we've made improvement, are still not where they need to be. And we've got significant improvement to make if we're going to prepare students to be ready for life-changing opportunities and if we're going to facilitate life-changing outcomes. I commend the Board of Education for having the courage to set the bar high. What we must engage in order to accomplish the board's goals and guardrails is not a race to the bottom, but a race to the top. And we're committed to doing that. Our students told me firsthand about how the COVID-19 pandemic impacted their social and emotional health. And so we're thinking about that in terms of how we move forward. I invite all of you to visit our website, philasd.org/100 days, to get a full recap of everything that was shared during the listening and learning tour. I want to personally thank our Chief of Research and Evaluation, Dr. Tanya Wolford, and her staff. They worked around the clock to code the themes and to prepare very user-friendly reports. So I hope you go to our website to study that data. What bridges these themes is the one issue that matters to all of us: improving academics, increasing our students' literacy proficiency, and equipping them with the tools required to succeed in a very competitive global economy. So here's what's next. I am realigning the senior leadership team in the school district, also known as 440, with an immediate and long-term focus on the areas of academics, significant academic improvement, learning conducive facilities, improved communications, and improved customer service, and grassroots partnerships. Now, as Philadelphians reminded me from day one, we have an awful lot of talented, smart, enterprising, and resourceful people right here in the city of Philadelphia. And we don't have to always go to California or North Carolina to find them. We heard that loud and clear in a way that only Philadelphians can share. You'll understand my point. So I agree with Philadelphians. So today, I am happy to announce the appointment of 5 Philadelphians, or people with connections here in Philadelphia, to my executive leadership team. And I handpicked these 5 individuals, not just because they're from the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, not just because this is the historic home of the signing of the U.S. Constitution and Declaration of Independence, which is so important to me as a historian. I hand-selected these individuals because they have the talent, the disposition, they have a collaborative work ethic and spirit. And like me, they're not only collaborative, but they are absolutely results oriented. And I think these 5 individuals will be a true asset to helping us to achieve the board's goals and guardrails and to position our school district to be one of the fastest improving large urban school districts. So as I call their names, I'll ask them to come and stand with me today. Our first new person is not new to the school district, but he'll be new to a new role. This week, we're promoting Ori Munson, who is our current Chief Financial Officer, to the position of Deputy Superintendent of Operations. I think it's absolutely noteworthy the improvements that have been made in the financial health of the school district. And I can think of no CFO and Deputy Superintendent better than Ori Munson. I also am pleased to announce a new Deputy Superintendent for academics. And this person will lead the whole suite of schools and our academic strategy and support services, Ms. Siobhan Savage. Yeah. Ms. Savage has a very interesting history, and I've got to know her really well over time since I've moved to Philadelphia. Not only has she been a principal who moved the needle with student achievement, very important. She also holds a superintendent's license, and she's a lawyer, Penn trained attorney, University of Pennsylvania trained attorney, and we're sure excited to have her join us here as Deputy Superintendent for academics. We're also pleased to welcome a new Chief of Communications and Customer Service. We'll be very focused on communications and customer service. This person is coming from us having served as the Chief of Communications at Mastery Schools here in the city. And she also is the former Executive Director at PICO here in the city. And she was Director of Communications and the Press Secretary for the city of Wilmington, Delaware. I'm very pleased to welcome to the team, Ms. Alexandra Coppage. A true Philadelphian, I must also say that she attended the very great University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. But that had nothing to do with this decision. I want you to know that. Thank you for your time in North Carolina and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I'm also really excited to introduce someone that you will know very well, because for over 20 years, many of you welcomed her in your homes. And I have come to know her and think that she's going to be an awesome addition to this talented team here. She's an Emmy award-winning storyteller and communication leader. And she will serve as Deputy Chief of Communication and our district spokesperson. Very pleased to introduce Monique Braxton. Welcome. Last but certainly not least, we want to welcome aboard a community and political organizer. I saw this gentleman all over the city in the listening and learning tour, and I saw him all over the city before I became superintendent as I was visiting the city. And I said, I heard him speak in a few events, and I said, that's a very interesting gentleman there because he seems to be very adept at building relationships, very strategic. He's a former math and special education teacher and after-school provider, and he's going to join us as the new Director of Community Relations as a direct report to the superintendent. And he's also bilingual, fluent in English and Spanish. And so we're pleased to welcome our new Director of Community Relations, Mr. Edwin Santana. On October 20th, I will complete phase 2 of my entry plan. The transition team, led by Ms. Custis and Dr. Guy Journals, President of the Community College of Philadelphia, and facilitated by Dr. Betty Morgan, the former National Superintendent of the Year, will provide its report to the Board of Education and me at the October 20th Board of Education meeting. They will share updates from 5 subcommittees that included the Student Achievement Subcommittee, the Operations Subcommittee, the Subcommittee on Cultivating an Equitable and Anti-Racist Culture, the Subcommittee on Community Engagement and Communications, and certainly the Subcommittee on Well-Rounded and Enriching School Experiences, along with some short-term and long-term recommendations. So we're going to look forward to getting those recommendations officially on October 20th. And October 20th, we will officially conclude phase 2 of my entry plan. And with improving safety, literacy, and jobs at the top of our minds, I can share that we are in conversation with the Free Library of Philadelphia about a potential partnership to fill some immediate gaps with the absence of libraries and librarians in some of our schools. I am pleased that Kelly Richards, CEO of the Free Library of Philadelphia, is here today. I'll ask you to stand and be recognized, and we're glad you're here. We listened and we heard you, so please stay tuned for more partnership development between the School District of Philadelphia and the Free Library of Philadelphia to address the void in libraries and librarians. And I look forward to our future partnerships. I also look forward to growing our career and technical education and dual enrollment partnerships with the Community College of Philadelphia, as this will impact job preparation for our young people. And we'll have more to say about that in the coming weeks. So we can expect transformational ideas coming from the transition team of 80+ Philadelphians, joined by a few local and national experts in terms of what's working nationally. And I encourage you to join us on Thursday, October 20th at the board meeting. If you can't join us, please tune in via PSTV for the Transition Committee report and recommendations. Now, following the October 20th report of the transition team, we will move to phase 3, the final phase of my entry plan for the first year of work. Phase 3 will launch the development of a strategic planning process. Part of that work will be a deeper assessment of our organizational structure, the structure here at 440, as well as the development of a 5-year strategic plan, an aggressive 5-year strategic plan that will outline the specific limited number of strategies that we will invest our time in, that will invest our budget in, and that will, budget's plural, and that we will invest our professional learning and other resources in, such that we accelerate academic performance to meet the board adopted goals and guardrails, and to position us to become one of the fastest improving large urban school districts in the country. Let's build on this promise together. Before my first day as superintendent, last thing I want to say before we close, before my first day as superintendent of the School District of Philadelphia, I sent a letter to our students and families. And in that letter, I said that my appointment by 9 Board of Education members as superintendent of the School District of Philadelphia is proof that ordinary people can be charged to do extraordinary things. What I've learned in phase 1 of my entry plan and this listening and learning tour, that the students of the School District of Philadelphia are anything but ordinary. As I listen to them, even the ones whose promise and potential hasn't yet showed up on a standardized test, they're brilliant, they're smart, they're talented, they are absolutely extraordinary, all of them. And as extraordinary young people, they absolutely deserve an extraordinary school district and an extraordinary education. It absolutely is possible. We also know that we cannot do business as usual in the school district of Philadelphia. I want to be very clear. We have improved our finances over a 10-year period. We've had some gains in 3 through 8 reading. We've had some gains in 3 through 8 math. But if we're going to accelerate those gains to the point that we achieve the board's goals and guardrails, we'll have to do some things differently. And so the hiring of these very fine five individuals signals the new direction that we're going to move in. We're going to be collaborative and results oriented, and we're going to be focused on extraordinary, not just enough to get by, not just enough to check the box, but we're going to give our very best to ensure that we provide extraordinary education every day for our young people. And I will thank in advance all of you, and particularly our Board of Education, our mayor, elected officials, unions, community partners, and others for your commitment to continue to support the School District of Philadelphia. With your support, we know that we absolutely can become one of the fastest improving, not in enrollment, but fastest improving in academic outcomes, fastest improving large urban school district in the country, because our children absolutely deserve it. Thank you. And we'll be happy to take any questions at this time.
At this time, we will go up to 3 questions pertaining to today's announcement from each outlet. Jeff?
I think it's made us think about how we use our resources to meet the needs of our young people, because they've told me time and again they are not well. So we'll have to pay attention to that, and we'll have to attend to not only the physical safety, which I think Chief Kevin Bethel and his team and the team is working very closely with our police commissioner and others on, but we also have to attend to their social and emotional safety, emotional health. And we're going to focus intently on that. And at the same time, we are not going to let it stop us or deter us from aspiring to have significantly improved academic outcomes. That's so important to me, because I think one of the answers to some of the problems that plague our city is better educating all of our young people, including some of those that are making some very poor, unacceptable choices. We have to do both. You know, it's a good question you ask. Historically, when Americans have been asked by the Gallup poll, what do you think schools should focus on? Social and emotional learning and the soft stuff, as we used to think about it, or hardcore student achievement? I think the tide is changing and the public is changing and we are changing. We realize now it's not an either or, we have to do both, and we're committed to doing both. Yes, in terms of the physical safety, we've talked about our Safe Passage program. We're in regular communication through our Chief of Safety, Kevin Bethel, and the police commissioner. We met throughout the summer. We're working very closely together. We're also focusing in on making sure that we have cameras that are working. A number of things we're doing to provide for physical safety of students. In fact, I can tell you that I'm confident that schools are some of the safest places in the city, and the data would support that. We're increasing our efforts to make sure that passage to and from school is safe as well. Now, unfortunately, we won't be able to do all of this work in a vacuum by ourselves. It's going to take some commitment from our community, grassroots organizations, elected officials, and certainly from those of us in the school district. We're going to do our level best to wrap our arms around our young people, to let them know we love them, we care about them, and we're going to meet their needs.
Mike from KYW News Radio.
Previous management structure in the grade when it came to academics? And what have you found over the 110 days that to change?
Certainly. I'll say a couple of things. There's no right or wrong way to organize a school district. In fact, if you look at large districts across the country, you'll find a lot of different scenarios. I tend to follow the research supported by the Wallace Foundation, which is one of the leading research groups in the area of supervision. And it says that research says that to really impact change at a meaningful level and to coach teams up, the span of control is somewhere between 9 to 11. So I'm reducing my number of direct reports from about 14 or so to fit within that range. That's one. Two, a deputy superintendent model with Deputy Superintendents Munson and Deputy Superintendent Savage will afford me the opportunity to continue to be engaged in our community, to be engaged in Harrisburg, building relationships with our legislators, as well as our city council and mayor and others. I anticipate spending about 50% of my time inside of the building and 50% of my time outside in the field, if you will. And so the deputy superintendent model will work best for that. Had I been superintendent here for 10 years, I'm not sure if I'd need that, but I think it's important now. Also, I think we need something different and specifically related to the academic health of the school district. We've made progress. I want to be really clear. We've made progress, but we've got to build on the progress that was made during the Hyde administration and continue to accelerate up. So we need to take that growth curve that's going like this and take it like this. Can we do it? Absolutely. Because thanks to many people on our board and Deputy Superintendent Munson, I'm inheriting a much better financial position than Dr. Hyde inherited some 10 years ago. So we're in a position where it just makes sense to think differently about how they organize the district. But I think on the academic side, Deputy Superintendent Savage, we're going to sit down and take a hard look at the entire academic structure. And we're going to take some time to study what other faster improving school districts are doing. And we're going to talk some more with other people. And we're going to reimagine what the academic strategy can be in the school district of Philadelphia. And we'll have one person leading that work versus multiple. Thank you.
Next question is from Dale Mezzacappa from Chalkbeat.
Hi, Dr. Watlington. When you said that you were going to spend attend more to the social emotional health of students, are you going to be hiring more people to work in the schools, using partnerships? Because, right now there's like one counselor from, several hundred kids and so on. So could you explain how you're intending to do that?
Yes, I would love to have the budget to hire more counselors because students told me during the listening and learning tour that some of them never see their counselor, that the ratios are just entirely too high. So unless we get the resources, and I doubt we will, where we can significantly lower the counselor to student ratio, we think the best way to attack that issue is to continue doing some of the work that our Chief of Student Services and Supports, Karen Lynch, is doing with members of her staff. And that is providing a robust set of professional learning opportunities, not just for counselors, but for other support staff members, for teachers, for people who provide other roles in the schools, so that we better help all of our adults in the school, giving our scarce resources to know how to work with the school safety officers and others that Chief Bethel leads to practice, to help young people make good decisions, to hear their voices, to help them with conflict resolution and peer mediation, and a lot of other things that we need to do to hear their voices and to support them. So we think we're going to continue to invest in professional learning opportunities for an array of staff that can help support our young people.
Jack from Metro.
Yes, I wanted to ask about the library partnership. Is this just in the early stages now? I know you mentioned a possible partnership, but obviously you're talking about it today, so it must be more advanced stages. Can you talk a little bit about that partnership? Where will it focus on high schools, elementary schools? What are you thinking about that at this point?
It's the early stages of a partnership, and so we're not prepared to share any details today. The purpose here is not just to be a teaser, but I want you to know that the leader of the Free Library of Philadelphia has committed to being an equal partner with the School District of Philadelphia so that we can figure out ways to work together to fill some of the voids, K-12, not just in high schools, but K-12.
Kristen Graham with the Inquirer.
Good morning, Dr. Watlington. I'm sure you're still working on the org chart, but I'm curious with the new leadership structure, what it's going to look like. I mean, have you made decisions about, our departments that exist now? Are they going to be folded into others, or is that still a work in progress?
It's still a bit of a work in progress, but certainly under the academic leadership of Deputy Superintendent Savage, the schools, the academic office, support services, and equity, the equity office will all fall in the academic suite under Deputy Superintendent Savage's leadership, so we can have a really strongly coordinated approach to improving academic outcomes. In the operations area under Deputy Superintendent Munson, we'll have a new Chief Financial Officer and that suite of services, as well as the operations team led by Chief McNeil, as well as human resources or our talent office and instructional technology. Those are some decisions that have already been made, and we're continuing to refine that as we bring the new deputy superintendents on board.
Aubrey from WHYY.
Yeah, going back what Dale had said about the, desire to hire more counselors to support student mental health and the district not necessarily having the capacity to do that. Are there other areas in which you're going to be focused on leveraging community partnerships or raising funding in other ways so that you guys have the financial resources to accomplish these ambitious changes you're proposing?
Absolutely. One, we're going to continue to advocate for the funding for an under-resourced school district. And we're going to make the case to our legislators about how we are good stewards of the dollars that they're providing us. Two, we're going to invest heavily in our grants office to secure federal, state, and private and philanthropic grant sources that can help support some of those needs. Also, under the leadership of Mr. Santana, we're going to be very externally engaged with grassroots organizations and members of the Philadelphia community, to include our philanthropic community. And when there are groups that want to partner with the school district, either by providing financial resources or in-kind services, we're going to make sure that we answer the phone call on the first or second ring. We're going to be committed to staying engaged, working with our Office of Strategic Partnerships. Mr. Santana won't do all that work, but he'll work closely with me, helping me to connect the resources that are already working across the FACE office, the Office of Strategic Partnerships, and other parts of the organization, so that we can continue to be very externally engaged and responsive to our community. We're hoping that those three areas will help us commandeer more resources that can help us with not only the void in counselors that we're experiencing, but quite frankly, many other areas where we're very lean on staff.
And we're going to take our last question from NBC 10.
Hi, Dr. Watlington, Rosemary Connors. What's your message to parents who have lost faith in sending their kids to safe schools in a safe city, who don't think that that's happening and it's not possible?
I would say to any parent who has concerns, one, We absolutely understand the concerns. I'm here to say to parents that we are very intentional about driving greater academic outcomes in the school district. And safety is our number one priority. I would say to give us a chance. I want to encourage our parents to believe in us. I recognize there's a crisis of confidence across the city. And we're going to do our level best to win our parents' trust based on the actions we take. And so we'll just say trust but verify. Give us an opportunity, believe, and give us a chance. We're committed to doing this work. Absolutely.
Alrighty, at this time, due to time constraints, we need to end the Q&A, but if you have any further questions, you can reach out to myself, Christina Clark, or my colleague, Marissa Urbanik. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Actually,
All right, everybody, we're gonna try to center on the backdrop here. Everybody move to your right.